Hello, friends. We had started the chapter "The Making of Scientist," the making of a scientist in the book "Footprints Without Feet." It's a very interesting chapter about Richard Everett. And in this chapter, we have already seen that how Richard Everett started his journey to become a scientist. The last topic that we studied here was that he found out that the gold spots given on the monarch pupa were not ornamental. Okay, he said that these gold spots had some values. Okay, they were very important. Okay, so let's move ahead. So let us continue. I'll read it next. To find the answer, Everett and other scientists, excellent science students, first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. Okay, so he took another friend, another fellow person whose name is means whose name is not given, but who was a very good student, who was an excellent student. Both of them developed a device by which they could see, okay, they could see and they could show, okay, how the hormones come out from the golden spots of the butterfly. This project won Everett first place in the county fair, and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There again, they won third place for zoology. He also got He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Okay, so ultimately, what happened? Obviously, his achievements were appreciated, and he was given a chance to work in the laboratory. Okay, there he could get some complex instruments and devices, which it was not possible for him to afford. Maybe as a high school junior, Richard Everett continued his advanced experiment on the monarch pupa. That year, his project won first place at the International Science Fair. See, earlier he won the third prize, now he won the first prize. That's very important. And gave him another chance to work in the army laboratory during the summer. Okay, so he got another chance to work in the army laboratory. In his senior year, he went a step further. He grew cells from a monarch's wing in a culture and showed that the cells would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. What did he discover? He ultimately not only proved that those gold spots secrete some important hormone, but also he proved that what was the use of those hormones. He said those hormones were so important that if they do not come out from those gold spots, the wings will never develop. And you can understand a butterfly without wing. Nothing. Okay. So that means the wings. Wait a minute. I see. So that means the wings were very important, and the wings could come out only with the presence of the gold spots. Okay, and then he won the first place at Zoology International Fair. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at International Laboratory and at the laboratory of the US Department of Agriculture. The following summer, after his freshman year at Harvard University, Everett went back to the laboratory of the Department of Agriculture and did more work on the hormone from the gold spots. So, what do we see? See, he worked upon the hormone again. He did not stop, my dear, he did not deviate from his direction. Okay, he had this one direction and he worked on it. Okay, focused, he was very much focused. Using the laboratory's sophisticated means complex, okay, difficult instruments, he was able to identify the hormone's chemical structure. So what he was working now, first he said that the gold spots were important, then he said that gold spots release some hormones. Now he say he's going to discover that, then he said that this hormone is important for the, this hormone can only thing which is important or which causes the development of the wings. Now he is going to tell us what was the chemical structure of that hormone. A year and a half later, during his journey here, Everett got the idea for his new theory about the cell life. It came while he was looking at X-ray photos of the chemical structure of the hormone. When he saw those photos, Everett did not shout Eureka or even have got it. See, Eureka is a word that is used to tell that I have won it, I got it. Okay, so it's an expression actually, expression of achievement. But he believed that, along with his findings about insect hormones. Okay, so ultimately he had discovered what he wanted. The photos gave him the answer to one of the biologist's puzzles. Okay, so he got the answer to biggest puzzle of biology. How the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. What is DNA? DNA is the substance in nucleus of the cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. So thus DNA is the blueprint for life. So let me explain it more well. DNA is basically a substance. You would already know it because you are in 10th and you have studied the science. But DNA is a substance that is important and that actually transfers some properties from the parent cell to the child cell. Okay, from parent cell to the child cell. And this thing was discovered by Mr. Everett. This was discovered that how this transfer process takes place. Okay, how do the cells read the blueprint of the DNA? How do they know that this quality should come in the child cell? So all these things were ultimately discovered by Everett. So you can understand that how he did it and how importantly and how nicely he worked on. So the biggest quality of Everett is that he was very, very attentive. Let us continue ahead. Everett and his college roommate James R. Wong worked all that night drawing pictures and constructing plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Together they Together they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. Surprising, no one who knew him. Richard Everett graduated from Harvard with highest honors, second in his class of 1510 students. Here I would like to explain you, I would like to discuss that, my dear guys, my dear students, he won the second place. He was not the first. Okay, he was second in his class. So what? It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't put any barrier in his success. It doesn't put any barrier in making him a scientist. Okay, so he became a scientist. Who knows about the first? Who is reading the story of first person? We are reading the story of a person who came second. So that is something that, don't go for the marks, don't go for your position. Just go for the excellence. Go work for the work for your own satisfaction, my dear. This is what I would like to say. Everett went on to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the process of life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancer and other diseases. All of this is possible because of Everett's scientific curiosity. His high school research into the purpose of the spots on monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about cell life. So you can understand that this is how Everett moved ahead and he discovered this theory, and all this started with a butterfly, with a collection of butterfly. Okay, he would not have gone to the he if he hadn't gone to that seventh grade science exhibition, science competition. I think that probably would not have become a scientist. So okay, and again I would like to tell that it was his failure that taught him to become successful. So my dear, don't be panicked with the failure. Failure is a part of success only. Okay. So now not waste your time. It's not a philosophy lecture going on. So let's continue. Richard Everett has been interested in science since he first began collecting butterflies, but not so deeply that he hasn't time for other interests. Everett also became a champion debater and public speaker and a good canoeist, an all-around outdoor person. See, we have already read that his mother used to take him on trips, so definitely canoeing was a part of his life. Moreover, something which is important, that he was a debater and public speaker. It's a big thing. He is also an expert photographer. Definitely, it can be a part of his research. Okay, exploration cannot take place without photography. So, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. In high school, Richard Everett was I'm underlining all these things, that he was a debater, he was a public speaker, okay, he was a canoeist, he was a photographer. Oh my god, why it's not working? Okay, so just remember that he was a photographer also. It's not working. Okay, it's working now. Okay. So all these things are other than scientific attitude that the man had. Okay. See, in high school, Richard Everett was a straight A student. Means A student means top student. Because learning was easy, he turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and Model United Nation clubs. He also found someone to admire, Richard A. Warrer. See, MUN, I am underlining here. MUN, you know MUN? MUN clubs would be there in your school also. So he was also part of MUN. And in MUN, definitely would have got the benefit of being a debater. Okay, as he was a debater, he was a good public speaker. So definitely he would be benefited in MUN because of all these things. He also found someone to admire, Richard A. Warrer. He was his teacher actually, his social science teacher, an advisor to both clubs. Okay, so social science teacher who was also an advisor to Model United clubs. Okay, MUN club. So he also helped him. Mr. Wheeler was the perfect person for me then. He opened my mind to new ideas, Everett said. So definitely you need to have person. So he had his mother, he had Dr. Urquhart, okay, and he had Mr. Wheeler. Okay. Richard would always give that extra effort, Mr. Wheeler said. What pleased me was here was this person who put in 3 or 4 hours at night doing debate research besides doing all his research with butterflies and his other interest. See, so Richard was not like that who stopped working on who stopped working on butterflies when he got busy in debates. No, he gave equal time to both, or I must say enough time to both the things. He was preparing for debates as well as he was doing his research on butterflies. Nothing was stopped by him. Richard was competitive. Mr. Werer continued, but not in the bad sense, he explained. Richard was not interested in winning for winning sake. Winning for winning sake or winning to get a prize. Okay, Richard, rather he was winning because he wanted to do the best job he could. See, I told you, work for your own satisfaction. Okay, definitely you will become successful. First, you need to work for your satisfaction. First, you satisfy yourself, then you try to satisfy others. Nobody will stop you from succeeding. For the right reasons, he wants to be the best. He did not want to win the prizes. See, it's very simple. Okay, like the film stars, if they are working for prize and awards, maybe they do not get. But if they work with full honesty. If they really do the real acting, okay, so definitely they win. They get the prizes also. Fine. Uh, and that is one of the ingredients in the making of a scientist. Start with the first rate mind, add curiosity, and mix in will to win for the right reasons. Okay, you need to win. It's not like that you don't dream to win. Dream to win, but for the right reasons. Not for the prizes and awards for money. Not for money. No, to satisfy yourself. Everett has these qualities. From the time the book The Travels of a Monarch 10 opened the world of science to him, Richard Everett has never lost his scientific curiosity. So, guys, you can understand this is the chapter of Richard Everett, and from the story you already understood, you've already learned that Everett was a very sincere, honest, and hardworking boy. Okay, and most importantly, he was very much attentive. So, fine, this chapter gets over here. Now we don't have anything here. Now we are having question answer. So let us discuss few questions that we read previously, but we have not discussed. Okay, 2 3 questions were there. So where were they? I think they were on page number 36. This is 35. Let me take out 36, 36, 36. Down. It should be, yeah, it's here. First question is, what lesson does Everett learn when he does not win anything at a science fair? So he learned that only displaying is not going to bring him victory. If he has to win, he will have to do some real experiment. Okay. Next question. What experiments and project does he then undertake? So here you can go for that. Like next year he worked on the 1 year he worked on the that why this butterfly copy the other butterfly. I don't remember the name, but that was the one time. Another time he worked for that some insects disease and that all. Fine. What are the qualities that go in the making of a scientist? The last paragraph of the chapter that we just now have read, that paragraph will be the answer of this particular question. Okay. So this is how we finished up the question answer also, and we read this chapter. It was a wonderful chapter. Okay, it teaches us many good qualities. It makes us feel important and bring excellence to ourselves. Okay, fine. So this is the pages I have turning now. So let us finish the chapter here only. Okay, rest of the things we'll see in the next class, next chapter. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day ahead. Bye bye, everybody.